after not rollerblading in like 20 years, and I've had them on maybe 5 times in 20 years. One time was maybe like 5-10 years ago. I saw some kids on a mid-level skate park, not like a local little kids park, but like a 10-foot half pipe type thing, and wearing some nice aggressive skates, and I hadn't put skates on in a long time, and I asked him if I could put on his skates, and he's like, they're not normal skates, and I'm like, it's not like you can soup them up. I was like, what, they got ABAC 5, bearings on them? They came with 3s or something, it's like, they look like a pair of Rossies to me, but anyway, so I put on his skates, and I charged up the half pipe. He's like, oh, did you be careful, looking at me like I'm an old man, which, whatever. And I climbed up and, jumped up and sat down the way you're supposed to, and stood up and just dove in. And, he was kind of shocked. He's like, they're not, he said that he couldn't even do that. Anyway, so I've traveled about 100 miles with bus and train and skating the other day with a 60-pound backpack and skates on, and the closest I got to falling was today, because a piece of tar from the road kind of grabbed me when I was crossing the street, and I tumbled, but shit happens. Back in the day, it's something I learned to wear gloves, like with a motorcycle. You wear gloves, because if you go down, it's the first thing to go your palms. You need leather gloves. But anyway, I had a handful of people like, oh, you must have been doing that a long time. You look good on those things, And I was like, shit, I haven't done this in a long time, but yes, I am better than the average skater. And years ago, I had Army veteran, which is like a 1%er biker dude, say to me, just because he saw the way I gracefully went around and spun around, a bunch of clutter and stuff, and the way I was walking backwards, and he's like, you played hockey? I was like, well, yeah. Why would you say that? And he's like, oh, just the way you gracefully moved, and spun around, and, you skate. And I was like, oh, yeah, I can say that. Well, yeah, it means that you know what you're talking about. But yes. Somebody's like, oh, it's like riding a bike. Well, kind of, which that was kind of hard, too, after not riding an actual bicycle when I've had motorcycles for so long. Riding a bicycle was a challenge. But skates. I started off on